Yeah, we should just drop the interview, talk about SpongeBob.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could go on forever. Jellyfish Jam. Wow.
That was another good one.
Oh, dude.
Yo, I literally pull up that song sometimes to just literally jam like on my lonesome.
You know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
Sometimes I just walk into work and I just go, you make a loop-de-loop and pull, and your shoes are looking good. Oh, yeah.
You bend over and back. Yeah, it's so good. It is so good. It is so good.
Today is a sad day, a day that I guess will live on in infamy as Thomas's last few days, few hours, few seconds, I would say. He was a good man. Some even say he was a bad man, but a good man nonetheless. So we have a new host on the show working with me. But he goes by the name of, ironically enough, Thomas, Mr. Thomas Olette. How are you doing?
I was trying so hard to find that one speech the guy does in the...
I was waiting for you to grab.
What was the Adam Sandler movie? Billy Madison.
Oh.
I wanted to do this... No, you're good. I wanted to do this speech where he's like, none of that could be construed as a rational thought. Everyone here is now dumber for having listened to what he said.
Hello, my friend.
How's it going, Mark?
Not pretty good.
You're about to say not good.
I know.
You know what I'm fucking excited for?
What are you excited for?
My grandma sent me $100 for Christmas.
Really?
I am gonna buy some Legos.
That's fantastic. That's what you... The whole $100 just Legos?
No. Maybe
Like,
a little bit.
Maybe a little bit of
I mean,
$100.
hey, it's not like they ever... Like, Legos never stopped being cool.
Okay, yeah.
It just got to a point where they're like, you're too old enough to like them. I'm like, the fuck?
Why? Because they're just like tiny little
Am I supposed to wake up one day and suddenly not think Legos are cool anymore?
Yeah, man, Legos are pretty good.
They're awesome, especially the stuff we got.
How many Legos do you have? By brick.
By brick?
Yeah.
6 trillion.
6 trillion? That's a lot of bricks. You fit all that in your ass?
What?
In your room?
I thought you fit all that in my ass. I was like, Mark, the hell?
Come on, Thomas. We cannot misunderstand each other.
Me and Mark started playing D&D together.
Man.
It's
been a lot of fun.
He likes it.
And you just kind of started a little bit before me, right?
No, I've been playing it for a long time.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Played it with my friend Zeke back when 5th edition just came out.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're hoping to bring Aiden, who's Thomas's best friend. We had him on the show before, and kind of do like a little instruction manual of how to play D&D for those of you who like to try and jump on it if you ever have friends.
Long story short, we're super nerdy. We love it. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to learn sometimes.
Yes, it is.
But so what's not hard to learn?
Exactly, man.
What's not hard to learn?
Time.
Mark, what's not hard to learn?
Nothing, man. Nothing's not hard to
Nothing's
learn.
not hard to learn.
Yeah, you can learn anything.
You can learn nothing though.
You can.
That is easy.
That's probably the easiest.
That's the easiest one.
Like you can master that.
I already did.
Boom, I just mastered it right now.
That's all you do though. All right.
That's fantastic.
So today on our show we have
a legend,
a fluent French-speaking, what are those called? People who go to other countries to broker peace.
Speakers?
No, that's what people who talk are.
Oh, okay.
Public
speaker?
No, what are they called? They're called.
I don't know.
Not like liaison.
Advocates? I don't know.
No, they're
administrators.
Oh God.
I'm just throwing words out there for you, man.
Alexa, do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to think. I can't. Who just speak?
I couldn't even tell because she's speaking in French right now.
I know,
I can't even.
When you guys are hearing it, it's being translated in English.
No, it's like what are those assholes who go to other countries and be like, let's not go to war. Damn.
I can't think.
Peacemakers.
Not negotiators.
I don't know. We've gone through
Damn
it for too long.
How do we even look this up? How do I? What do I put in the Google?
Peacemaker title.
No,
Yeah.
that's not.
That's what.
That's not specific enough.
Okay, something like that. Well, yes, a legend in her own right who goes to school in New York City. Her name is Alexa Madrid. How are you doing today, Alexa?
I'm doing fabulous.
That's fantastic.
Doing great.
She also represents France diplomatically.
Ooh, that's
The
really
whole-
far.
Yeah,
country.
she does both. She
The soccer
Really
teams and
far.
everything.
she
bro.
commutes to work. So
Yeah, I really love learning languages. So I know a little bit of French. I tried teaching myself a little bit of Italian, Portuguese, no Spanish. Know a little bit of sign language. So.
do me some sign language right now for the people listening.
Um,
There we go.
Wow.
That was
really good.
That was the coolest shit I've ever seen
That
in my
was
life.
really, really good.
And I think people are at a loss for not being able to see it.
it's my performance.
We'll have to meet you. You have to do a sign language concert.
I'll do it.
That'd be great.
Everyone will line up.
I'll suck
Can
the
I see
entire
your set list?
time.
They'll be like,
Can I see
say
your set-
something.
Who's your opening act?
Yeah.
You'll be like, and everyone will be like, ah!
Literally.
God,
Do you know
bro.
that scene in SpongeBob, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, where they're like trying to fight off the monsters and they're just hitting their
Oh,
chest?
yeah.
Go Pat, go
Yeah.
Pat. It's like what the
Go
concert
Patrick.
would be.
that
SpongeBob.
that movie,
Go SpongeBob.
that
Go
movie
SpongeBob.
is one of the funniest movies of all time.
Oh yeah.
the best.
That like I'm not even being sarcastic.
No, 10 out of 10.
Like, God, it's hilarious.
I
love-
remember
Best
seeing the
picture right
ending
there.
when they were like getting really dry under the lamp, and as a kid, bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
And I look at my mom, and I was like, "Mom, this can't be the ending." And she was like, "Alexa, just finish the damn movie." And I was like, "But no, they can't die."
That was so crazy
halfway
because
done.
you think about it and it's like, yeah, these children just saw them like fucking dry out and die.
Literally, slowly though.
Or
Like,
it'd be the tear of the goofy goobers.
Dude, what saved them? Like their tears?
Yes, so they
my
cried. Their
God.
tears formed a heart and then went down the electrical socket.
Dude, what a
and it
beautiful
started
moment.
the smoke alarms.
so intense.
Oh, it's like,
And David Hasselhoff was
what
it?
is this place?
Yeah.
And the dude gets like a clam, puts some googly eyes on it. He calls it Alexander Clam Bell. And he's like, we're at a knick-knack shop.
I always loved the
so
hey, who's blowing all these bubbles?
And then the best, arguably the best part, when they're at the beach and they're like, how are we gonna get back to Bikini Bottom?
Wait.
I can take you there. David
His
Hasselhoff
body
rolls
transforms.
like, and then when he swims, he doesn't even swim. He just like puts his arms
that's
up like
the
a
thing in The Incredibles where Mrs. Incredible like shapeshifts
yes into a
literally.
boat. And then there's a part where like Dennis is fighting them and he falls back and he takes his knife out and like stabs his
You
butt
bad.
and he's
Yeah.
like, hey, be careful back
Ah.
there.
Yeah.
Dude, that movie's iconic,
Oh,
bro.
and then of course the
Love it.
part where he's like, I'm a goofy goober, and we get the best cover of a song which I think is by Twisted Sister. I think
that
is
song?
yes.
I
I Wanna Rock.
Yeah.
The best shit ever.
Yeah. Patrick in the fish.
In the fishnet that is started.
That's a
just, like,
classic movie,
scene.
man.
All of the scenes are
like the reason why
unforgettable.
people are so into fishnets today is because they saw Patrick wear them
Literally.
as
Yeah,
kids.
man.
He was the
He
inspiration,
was a trendsetter, man.
the icon.
That movie was freaking amazing. I haven't seen the new one. I heard it's pretty good too.
I haven't seen the new one either. After the emotional turmoil, I went from the
Mhm.
first one. I don't know if I could.
Top
Yeah.
10 saddest.
Yeah, I don't
anime
know if they're
deaths of
gonna
all
hurt me
time.
like
You
that.
can't top
I
that.
can't.
You have a favorite episode of SpongeBob?
I really like the one where it's like a documentary about the Krusty Krab.
Oh, yeah. The secret
Oh.
formula.
Poop. People order our patties.
That's a good one.
That's a pretty good one.
I love the Sweet Victory one.
That's another good
Really
one.
good.
For the owner of the white sedan, you left your lights on.
That's a great one. That's a fantastic one. That was like spot on.
Thank you.
Good job, man.
I also love the part where they're doing the marching band and the baton twirlers are
Oh,
twirling their batons so fast, just they hit a blip and explode.
Oh,
So
man.
good.
Yeah, we should just drop the interview, talk about SpongeBob.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could go on forever. Jellyfish Jam. Wow.
That was another good one.
Oh, dude.
Yo, I literally pull up that song sometimes
No,
it's like to just literally jam like on my lonesome.
You know that new
Sometimes
sound
I'm-
you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
Sometimes I just walk into work and I just go, you make a loop-de-loop and pull, and your shoes are looking good. Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my, you bend over and back. Yeah, it's so good. It is so good. It is so good. I
So
love
so
SpongeBob.
how much has SpongeBob impacted your life?
Yeah, man.
So much. That's literally all I used to watch as a kid. I used to watch Fairly Odd Parents.
That's a classic.
Danny Phantom.
Danny
but like
Phantom.
That's the one.
SpongeBob is one where like the script is memorized.
Yeah.
Like it's ingrained. I remember when they started releasing new episodes and I couldn't commit. I was
Yeah,
like, this
man.
might not be.
The classics are too good to.
And when Tom passed.
Oh, Tom
man.
Hiddleston, rest in peace, making a legend. Yeah. Do you remember? I think it was the episode where SpongeBob and Squidward had to watch the Krusty Krab overnight, and they blew it up. And Mr. Krabs comes in, sits down, falls apart, and he's like just chunks of him fall off. It's
you want to see me run behind that rock?
You
You
want to see me do it again?
Krakatoa!
Krakatoa!
That's a great
Or
one,
when Patrick like, yeah, I just want to see me touch my toes. He puts his hands out, and he has his toes go around him backwards to touch his fucking hands.
Oh man, bro.
It's pretty great.
You know the Nosferatu episode?
Yeah.
You know, that episode
Yeah.
was great, but my favorite part is when he's like telling him the story. He's like, and then
And
he's like, hey,
then-
you have any ketchup? Oh yeah, here you go.
The walls ooze green slime. Oh wait, but they always do that.
Yo, the level of or the type of humor is just
Yeah.
I think somebody said like
Amazing.
we always like enjoyed SpongeBob for SpongeBob, but as we got older, we understood.
Hey, you
Squidward.
understand Squidward? Like bullshit. Squidward was an ass, man.
Squilliam. So
Squilliam.
underrated.
Oh, I love the.
Squilliam is like I think about him so often.
I gotta
I'm
see if
like,
I could
Squilliam.
find the meme real quick. Where it's
It's
like-
stuck in my head now.
It's literally a jam.
Is that the
so
episode where
good.
they're having a party at his house? With
Yes.
the jellyfish? Oh
When
my
I'm
God.
pretty sure it starts at the field. And then he brings one home with him or something. And then it like hijacks his speakers.
Yes,
I'm ugly,
yes.
Yeah.
I'm proud. Say it louder.
I'm ugly and I'm proud. Is that what he's calling it these days? Literally. So I found this.
good.
This we might have to cut this out, but I love this meme so much.
I haven't seen this one. I've never seen it.
Dude, I
Oh
remember
my
when
God.
I love that so Shawty's like a melody.
I remember I was in school. I wanted to do that thing where he like they did like the production at Krusty Krab.
Yeah.
And he has the broom and he's just cleaning up the.
Oh, and everyone thinks it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
God, what was that show on? I wish
Bro.
I wish I smoked a tenth of what they smoked when they were making that show.
That's crazy,
So
bro.
good. So
Dude, what are you guys gonna do? Throw each other brains out? And he's like, wait a minute. Well, all right, Patrick, it's out.
so good.
Oh man.
So other than SpongeBob, what else do you like? You're like nothing.
That's my life. What else do I like? I like so many things. Well, what I'm studying right now is based in like education. I also love art, every type of art.
So you want to be like a teacher?
Everyone says that. It's so underwhelming because I don't want to teach.
Well, no, being a teacher is not underwhelming.
No,
That's
I think like literally being a teacher is one of the most important jobs ever. So underrated, so underpaid. I actually have a friend who is a teacher in Boston. But I don't know. I don't see myself. I think the like education system is just
yeah,
wrecked.
kind of trash.
It's wrecked, and I think I struggle with working within a system that still practices things that disenfranchise students.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something like higher, trying to like just change things. I was telling Mark this the other day, just kind of want to say this master's and just do art, like get my own studio, paint, draw. I'm obsessed with music.
Who's your
I also
favorite?
miss acting. What?
Who's your favorite like musician?
That's such a hard question. I suck at picking favorites because my music taste is literally all over the place.
Okay.
All over the place. I don't have a favorite though.
Your favorite genre?
Genre. According to Spotify Wrapped 2020,
By statistics
my
standards.
favorite genre is alternative R&B,
Oh.
which is something I could listen to all the time. So
What makes it alternative?
that's what I was thinking. I'm wondering if it's like newer R&B that makes it alternative because they do more
I
experimental
wonder what
stuff.
new R&B sounds like in the alternatives sound.
I could probably like look up.
What's that one video, super famous video people put on to study, and it's that girl doing homework. What are those called? It's like the
Because the second time, Thomas, where you mentioned something and we're both like...
it's oh my god, it's
I'm slowly trying to
Yeah,
find the
me too.
file.
it's like
Like a slow processing
something
time.
something girl does homework beats
Okay.
to study to. What are those
Okay.
called?
Oh! Ooh, like lo-fi?
Lo-fi, that's what
Yes!
it is. I could
I
not.
love
You couldn't just say, I
lo-fi.
don't know why.
I do listen to lo-fi.
I totally forgot the word lo-fi.
Lo-fi
Yeah.
is fire, man.
Lo-fi, no,
I love
lo-fi is
lo-fi.
great. I like it
bro.
because it's like, man, this isn't even words.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
But it's
sounds.
vibes.
bro.
It's vibes.
It's just sounds, right?
So
That's what I
vibes.
talk about.
Yeah. I use that to study too if I'm in like...
Me too. Because when you're studying and there's
Terrible.
just silence, you start to contemplate, and it just
Maybe
go
you
off.
should find like Billy Joel lo-fi.
There's no such thing as Billy Joel lo-fi, Mark. Even the idea of that grosses me out.
Drop him
I
a-
was like, Thomas is offended right now.
Have you ever listened to any of our episodes before? To the podcast?
Yes.
So
I
you-
heard you say Ramses, and I was confused.
Ramses.
Yeah.
when you
When did I
said
say
Ramses?
Ramses?
I
Oh.
didn't... Yes, I listened to the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Ramses is
I mean, do you know I'm a huge fan of Billy Joel?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I was like, I think I said that enough times on the podcast for
Yeah.
people to just understand. Yeah, he's the goat, the
legend.
the man sent by God to show people what music is. I
Wow.
would say.
Whoa, that's like pretty ambitious.
It's
to
ultimate,
say.
ultimate.
Yeah, I mean,
Top tier.
All right.
if it wasn't up to snuff, I wouldn't say it. But
I don't know.
do you listen to anybody dope?
Anybody though?
Do you listen to any Billy Joel?
Alternative Billy Joel.
Alternative Billy Joel.
I do, but not avidly.
You can fix
Yeah,
that.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to offend.
I can
Not avidly.
I
Yeah.
could send you a playlist.
Yeah, please do. I love playlists. Literally, music sharing is like my heart. So please do.
You mean I was talking to Mark about this because I was like the most recent song on my entire playlist is Ho Hey, as far as terms of like
And that was like 2011.
yeah
Isn't that Lumineers?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like the most recent song. I love that.
It's a really like it's one of those songs where like you just get in your car, it's sunny, and you're gonna have a good day. Like
Yeah.
that is that song.
That's it,
Do
bro.
you have a song that you listen to that pumps you up, gets you like
Oh
excited?
my
Yeah,
gosh,
man.
I have so many. What is it called? Push It by Salt and Pepper. That shit
Oh,
just
that's a
gets
good
me
one.
like
Push it.
hype.
Push it.
Hype.
Push it.
There was another song over the summer that no matter when I put it on, I was just on one. I don't remember what it was though. But I have I'm telling you, it literally ranges genres.
Heck yeah.
Um,
Heck yeah.
But Push It is a like, I'm in it to win it.
So that's crazy. I'm Mark, you have one?
I don't really know. Don't Stop Me Now by
Ooh,
That's a good one.
It's
That's a
pretty
good one.
good.
What? I used to blast that.
Don't Stop Me Now.
Yo.
Yeah, that's some good shit.
Like
That's
head
a
out the
vibe.
window.
Yeah,
scream,
bro.
"Don't
Running.
stop me
now. That's a
I was
good
like,
one.
I literally felt like limitless, like untouchable whenever I play that song.
Don't do the sky.
Yeah,
like
bro.
a
Like a
defy
god,
the
bro.
laws of gravity.
Yeah, bro.
I think
What
mine's
about you?
like I think it's either Jump by Van Halen
Oh, that's a good one.
or it's St.
that's
Elmo's
great.
Fire.
I Get Up. That's what you would do. Yeah.
I think you guys ever heard St. Elmo's Fire?
That sounds super
That's the one
familiar.
where
If
it's
you
like-
played it, I would know.
I could see the
I can see the pain better
higher and higher.
Oh, yeah!
Gonna be your man in motion.
That's the one, yeah.
All I need is
This
a pair
is-
of wheels. Take me where my future's lying. St. Elmo's. That movie.
Yes,
That
that's a good one.
song was made for the movie St. Elmo's Fire. Rob Lowe got a start in that movie.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
I think at the end they burn a building down.
I've
could be
never
wrong.
seen
I think
the
they have
movie.
all these
This
songs
is. I
on-
think this is just a karaoke session. Honestly,
Absolutely.
I'm so
Yeah,
here
it's-
for it. I have this like.
We built this.
I don't wanna say
city.
oath.
We built this
Dun,
city.
dun, dun, dun. We built this city on a rock and
We'll build this city.
Dun, 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 dun.
I can't. I have this like thing where it's like if I could play one song for the rest of my life, like if my life was a movie and I could have it play in any scene, it would be "You Know What's Up" by Donald Jones.
Donald Jones.
Donnell, yeah.
Oh,
It
Don.
goes,
Oh, Donnell.
Say what, say
Yeah.
what, say what. You know that I like it, baby. Girl, you know what's up.
So we got Donald Jones in the room right now.
Yeah, we do, man.
It's
Musical
yo,
guest.
it's like
I've never
Yo,
heard it before. So that was
you need to hear it.
that's cool.
It is when I tell you, but this is like seat all the way back in the car, low riding,
Oh,
like
snap.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
that's my
In my
song.
Chevy Spark.
low
It is.
riding.
That's the song of
Yeah,
Alexa for the
that's
rest of
cool.
her life.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you said you don't have a favorite artist, like a favorite musician or anything?
It's so hard to choose. I think because it also varies in waves. Like if I ever get onto a new artist, then I'll be like, I could listen to them for weeks. In terms of like back to basics, my all-time favorite artist that I always go back to It's so hard to choose. I know in high school it was like the Beatles, but it was
I
yeah.
feel
And then
like yeah,
I feel like everyone likes the Beatles, so I was like, nah, I don't.
I feel like they're overrated. To be
I
honest.
no, I agree, and I think that's what I'm saying. I literally fluctuate so much. I feel like in high school, Beatles were huge for me, like maybe freshman year, and then it just started like as my music taste started oscillating like crazy. It just kept changing. Like I think I don't know. It's so hard. I'm literally the podcast will be over by the time I figure out my favorite artist. Like
Did you listen to a lot of Beatles when you were younger?
Me?
Yeah.
Hell no.
I don't think I did
I listened
either.
to Come Together, and I was like,
The
yeah,
only
this
songs-
is their only good one.
The only song I actually listened to was like the one. What's the one from Ferris Bueller? We'll shake it up, baby. Now.
That's
Twist and
Shake it
shout.
up,
Is that
baby.
Beatles?
Twist
and
and
shout,
shout.
Shake
twist
it up,
and
baby.
shout.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, get it now.
That's
That
the
one
only
gets
Wow,
one.
bumped
that's
up.
Beatles?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was some
No, man,
other
that's-
guy.
That was
Wow,
like
that's-
early Beatles. I think it was early.
I
Well,
think
that's
when I was
awesome.
younger, I was introduced to this movie called like Across the Universe, and it was literally
Oh yeah, that's.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I was like obsessed, and then that got me on my Beatles jump. I didn't grow up listening to the Beatles. My mom did not listen to that
The
smack.
Beatles.
She did not. My mom was like Madonna, freestyle, 70s, 80s, like
Why?
also 90s.
Oh.
Yeah.
You wanna
This is lit.
be Mud Thomas?
What's that?
Question mark Thomas? So you said you
Look
like
around.
to paint and stuff too.
I do.
So would you think what's your preferred expression of art? Painting, music?
Probably a little bit of both. So in undergrad, I actually studied expressive art therapy, which is literally applied therapy. So I would be a therapist, but then work with people. Instead of sitting down and talking with them, I would do, let's paint a picture, let's write poetry, let's do music. You know what I'm saying? So I would help or that goal at the time was to help people really open up through a medium other than talking, because talking could be really intimidating.
I've always thought that was incredibly interesting because it's like it's like interpretive, right? That's what it is. So it's like they would like draw a picture of your family.
Yeah.
And then you take the picture and you notice like the kid drew themselves far away from the parents.
Yeah.
Because they probably don't feel like their parents are
Yeah. And it's so interesting because kids don't recognize that significance. They're kind
Absolutely.
of just being, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It was dope. And then I was like, I don't want to do therapy.
Therapy's kind of sad.
Yeah, I don't want to do
low-key.
therapy. I had this like placement that was really, really intense. And I did a couple things or activities with the kiddos, and like really, really hard stuff came to the surface of like their experiences, which was always really emotional. But in terms of one medium, when I was an undergrad, I was literally like exploring all of these different, I guess, tunnels of art. I honestly feel like I thrive best when they're all together. Like, I think when I was younger, writing used to be my all-time medium. Like, all I would do is write. Either it be poetry, journal. I still journal a bunch, but not as much. I think the thing for me with journaling is, like, I literally feel like I am emptying myself out of whatever. I don't know how to describe it. It's like when you're riding on a interstate or something and you're really low on gas. Like, that's what writing feels like to me. I think it takes a lot all at once. And then painting for me is just like a slow and steady process that I feel like I'm present with. Like, I sit down, I'm there, painting's there, and I'm creating. Music feels like an endless like journey for me. Yeah. So they all feel very different.
I've always liked when you're mad at someone, write an angry letter first, and then because it's like when you're mad, you just want to yell at that person.
Yeah.
And then immediately afterwards, you're like, I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that? I could have.
That's wild. So I've been thinking about this thing lately. So in terms of writing an angry letter, something that I had been reflecting on a lot was like the difference between reacting and responding. And so I think whenever we have really heightened emotions, that anger or any negative I mean, I don't want to say that anger is a negative emotion, but anything that we feel in a very heightened state, we react to immediately. Like, that's the anger, that's the sadness, that wants to just like be present and respond to whatever situation it is. Versus responding, where like you're able to sit with those emotions in solitude and figure out where they're coming from, why you feel them, and then go back to the situation and be able to like effectively respond. So I've been trying to like work out that balance of reacting to a situation versus responding.
And it's tough. When you're
yeah.
emotional about something,
Oof.
it's like your brain shuts off except for that one part. You're just like, oh,
incredibly.
I'm angry. I'm gonna get mad.
Yeah. I like ran into this thing with a friend recently where it's also difficult, right? Because people are just different, which is another thing that I've been trying to
People are just different.
Just different. Like, it's difficult out there. I mean, in the most simplest way possible. Like, I had this, I don't want to say tiff, but I had something with a friend, and for me, like, as my method of, instead of reacting, wanting to respond, I took time away from, like, talking to them just to, like, figure out my words and figure out what I wanted to say and how I felt about the situation. And then she had felt, like, pretty bad about it because her communication style is completely different. She would prefer, like, talking about it right then and there to just resolve the issue quicker. And I was like, dang. So even in this space of, like, trying to be, I guess, emotionally, like, how do I say? I guess responsive to, like, the other person and myself, there's still going to be a discrepancy in, like, communication or whatever other level of, like, human interaction that people have.
Yeah.
Which is rough. Yeah.
Well, it's also interesting because a person will form friendships with a person who's unlike them in multiple ways because it's weird. You would figure a person who likes to communicate a lot would want to be friends with someone else who communicates a lot. But it's like, I don't know why, but I feel like 9 times out of 10 it's the opposite. We want to be with someone we're opposed to.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's like we aim to fill a void of communication, right? So if that void has been filled, then we see that it's like
it's not challenging us?
Yeah, like subconsciously, okay. I think this happens.
That's interesting.
Because it's like, like me and my best friend are like 2 completely different people.
Yeah.
I'm like, you would figure you'd want to be friends with someone you're just like, but that's just like, I'm like, why would I want to be friends with myself? I'm a dick. I hate that guy. That's right. I fucking hate that guy. But no, I find that really interesting. I guess maybe it's like you feel you can help better them, or in turn they can help better you.
Which I think is where the growth happens, and the growth happens if it wants to, right? There's room for that. I think too, what's interesting, something I've also been reflecting on is like, I guess my close friend group that I have now, I don't want to say we're all similar, but we're pretty, like, in the way that we support each other, like in the way that we communicate, those things are similar. So then when I'm like going into new and different friendships, I sometimes just expect people to get it, like to get who Alexa is, or to get, you know, what I'm trying to say, or to speak my language, French. No, I'm kidding.
And that,
not French.
And that's always
Spanish,
so hard.
So hard.
So hard.
So hard.
Like
so hard.
So hard. Thanks, Mark. Mark put the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Verified.
So hard, man.
Extremely. Yeah.
Like I'm going to a new school, and
man.
especially I guess it's like different when you're a kid because kids are still forming themselves. So but when you're like, you know, you're an adult now, you're not gonna do much more changing, more or less. So you go to a new place and you're like, damn, I've got to do the first 6 months of like introductory to Thomas before I can give them, you know, fucking full Thomas.
Yeah.
And then even then, I'm not even sure if they'll like it.
Yeah, it's so wild because it's what boggles my mind is like how much we know ourselves and how much we know ourselves enough to know how much to give to someone else.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Like, that's exactly what you just said. Like,
right.
I have to sometimes give myself in doses because I'm like, I don't know if
like the first time I meet them, I'm like, look, I could give you full Thomas. I don't think you're ready for that though. Like, I don't think you can handle it.
Yeah.
That's funny that you bring that up because I feel like when we met, I think I gave you full
Mark only knows full Mark.
But I think that's also beautiful too to mention because there are particular people that we could show up 100% as and them also like accept. You know what I'm saying? Take that in.
It's all about the idea like you think they might not be ready for it, right? You come with that idea. But you don't know. Maybe they could be ready for it. Maybe they're down as fuck and you're just doubting yourself. But it's like
taking you in with open arms. I think Mark is like having.
I just realized that I did that. I didn't even know, bro.
Right
when we first met, we had known of each other, but like the first time we hung out, we were like playing basketball one day, and he brought Gatorades.
I brought 2 Gatorades. I had to pick him up. This was the first time we were ever alone together, and I think he sat in the back seat of my car. Oh, so I picked up Mark. And I got 2 Gatorades because they were buy one, get one. And I
Yeah.
was like, good for me. I'm going to get 2 Gatorades.
Love it.
Mark goes in my car. He goes, oh, you got 2 of those? I go, yeah. He just takes one. He takes one and starts drinking it.
What the heck,
There was
Mark?
no can I.
There's no
There was
can
no,
I.
hey, which one do you want? He just took it. Like, I got it for him. And
I didn't even know I did that.
then in my mind, I was like,
Okay.
I
All
like
right.
this guy.
I'm gonna have a hard time with this kid.
And the funny thing is, I still don't like this guy. No, I'm kidding. Me and Mark got pretty close. We got, I don't remember how, but it happened at some point.
That's dope. No, I read this book recently. It's called Big Friendship: How to Keep Each Other Close. This is not sponsored, but it really rocked my world.
Please sponsor us.
Really rocked my world. Like, it talks about how friendships are such vital relationships in our
Yes.
lives that I think we underestimate it in relation to like familial relationships or like romantic relationships. And how much I've been thinking about this book is wild. Like, it just talks about, they literally come up with different vocabulary words for things that you experience in friendship. So like, when your other friend is like doing their best, you also do your best, you know, and like how you support each other
Yeah.
co-constructively. But then that too, like how you just grow to like the things that, you know what I'm saying? Just like tiny things like that. I don't know. I think friendship is not cool.
Have you heard the expression "blood is thicker than water"?
Yeah.
Do you know about the full expression of that?
I've heard of it, but refresh my memory
It's
because I'm not gonna lie.
The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means the relationships made by choice are more powerful than ones made by like family.
Yeah.
Which is very true.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't say I'm close with any of my cousins as close as I am with, you know, my friends. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, if they were like, you could never see your family in Connecticut ever again. I'm like, I haven't seen them in 8 years.
Yeah. Like, it wouldn't make a difference.
But if they were like, you
Yeah.
can't see your friends ever again, I was like, what am I gonna do?
That would hit. Yeah.
That would suck. That's like my
Yeah.
worst nightmare. But in this book, it said how to keep them, right?
Yeah.
What was the main way to keep them?
So it talks about like, it's these 2 women that were best friends, and they kind of just hit like a wall. I would want to say. And what happened was, at this point, was that they didn't, again, know how to communicate or communicate their needs to each other, no matter how long they had known one another and how many things that they had been through. So it was talking about how really, again, shifting the way that we think about friendship versus other relationships that we have. So they were saying how, like, again, when we have a friend and something's intolerable, the first thing that we think about is cutting them off, like quicker than we would a family member or a partner. And it was saying that if this relationship is worth it for the long haul, like that's what one of the chapters is called, like the long haul, then doing anything in your ability to like make that work and mend that, it is worth it if it's worth it to the both of you. And that just like it I don't know, it reshifted and reframed a lot in my mind, because it also just talks about joint effort. Like,
Yes.
these 2 people wanted to make this work and wanted to make their friendship work. And it was interesting because they were like, they went to therapy and they were saying that they like, it's not couples therapy.
Like friend therapy.
Yeah, friend therapy, dude. Life changing.
Imagine like being like, we're such
Life-changing.
good friends. Like, we need to go to friend
That's what
therapy.
I'm saying. This book was just so meta to me because it's
Wow.
nothing I've ever heard
That's so
of.
that's like so new.
Yeah.
I never would have ever thought
And
about
they
that.
were
That's
saying
crazy.
that, you know, to find a therapist that, one, didn't think that anything romantic was happening because it was platonic. Like, the relationship
was it a
platonic.
girl and a girl or boy and a
Yeah,
girl?
no, it was
Oh,
2
okay.
girls, 2 women.
So we had a hard time finding a therapist who just didn't think we were gay.
Yeah, and like didn't have more than platonic
Wow,
feelings
that's
for each
crazy.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's usually like couples therapy or things like there's nothing as that exists like a friend therapist.
I know
you
that
know?
there's that whole branch of psychology that's just like everything we do is about sex. Oh, we
Yeah.
just don't fuck. We
Yeah.
want to do those things. Like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Again, something else I think about is like how surface level I think we get. Like, I don't know, I'm just the type of person that just dives deep into the like, I don't know, abyss of thought. And when I was reading this book and I was thinking about how I think we do friendship a disservice when we don't get deep enough, or any relationship, I think, right? When 2 people or just one person is like, I'm out. I'm guilty of that, but, you know, not understanding what it is you could do to bridge these differences because people are so different. And this book really just, I think I've also been thinking about like tenderness and how to connect with people better. And then again, bridge those differences better. So this book to me made it feel like, okay, well, endings aren't always inevitable. Endings don't always have to go badly or be bad. And again, they weren't like, we don't recommend therapy for everyone. Like that's not how that works. Again, it takes a lot of strength for both parties, but just different things that they spoke about was just mad cool. Like mad cool to say that.
Do you have a best friend?
Yeah, I have several. I mean, I mentioned them earlier. It's like a group of women that I know that I met in undergrad. I also have a best friend from like middle school she's the type of person where like I don't have to talk to her for years and then we'll link up as though, you know, we just saw each other yesterday. And the people that I keep close right now, those that I do consider my best friends, those that I just consider close friends, like I'm always or constantly trying to like navigate again what we mentioned or spoke about earlier is like difference and how do we like it literally boggled my mind because I was like people are so different, like we have different needs, the way that we reach each other is also different. And like we were speaking about language, like the things that I say to you, whether or not my intentions are good, may not land on your part the same way. I could be like, hey Mark, how's your day going? And Mark is like, why the hell would you say
What an asshole. Right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, something like that simple, but it's just, again, we all operate so specifically. I think, you know, I really struggle on these two ways of thought, right? Like philosophically, none of us are unique, right? And we're all the same, but also in the same regard, I also feel like we're all so different and so like wired extremely differently and extremely uniquely. With our own set of experiences. Like my sister once told me that the only thing that makes human beings different is the way that we react to a situation. Otherwise, we're all the same.
I don't think that's true. I feel like that's
So what's your opinion?
Oh, snap. Here we go.
What's your opinion? What's your
Let
opinion?
me sit back.
Both of you.
The only thing that would make us different is how we react to a situation.
Yeah, but everything is the same.
Everything is well, no, definitely.
Or not everything
Wait.
is the same,
Okay.
but like, how do I say? Human beings are so similar, right? Our situations are so similar. The things we go through are very similar, experience-wise, experiential-wise.
So the only difference is our reaction?
How we react to that
Okay.
situation and what it leads to afterward.
I would say a biggest example of why that's not true is music taste, right? No two people in the world have the exact same music taste. That has nothing to do with making a choice in a situation. That has to do with what you like. And I think it's still debated what part of our bodies, our brain or our heart or our theoretical soul responds to music. But
Yeah.
I'm a spiritual guy. I think our souls are what, it's like that music speaks to me or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it makes me, feel things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's something that's going to be different for every single person. I like Billy Joel, U2, and Toto and everything like that. I like them for completely different reasons, and I like very specific songs from those people. And I bet fans of those same people would like different songs that I would hate. Like, as we are very different. Every person is incredibly different from each other, further than reacting to situations.
Okay.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I'm kind of stuck in the middle, to be honest with
Yeah,
you, because I feel like Thomas brings up a good point. I think everybody in the world, no matter who they are, no matter how old they are, have this creative mindset of what they envision the world.
Yeah.
Everything is a canvas to everybody,
Yeah,
and so they look at it
definitely.
differently. And I think that part is true. I think you can never look at it the same way as anybody else.
Yeah.
If somebody was next to you and was looking at the same painting, they'd probably look at something completely
That
different.
is disgusting because I was going to do a museum analogy. I was like, how did he read my mind just now? Go.
But then I think at the same time, I think we all deal with the same issues as far as class or like,
Yeah.
Relationships or race and stuff. I think the world together did it because as humans, we all knew what our issues were because we could all relate that, like as you get older, kids are like, it's like something as small as like, I don't like that color t-shirt. So when you get older, we're like, I'm just a broke college kid. You are too? Hey, we're related but those are like social statuses, classes that we all deal with.
Yeah.
But in terms of what we like, I think is a little different,
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Creatively, I think it's very different. Like, he brings up a good point. Like, I could probably like Billy Joel songs, but I probably don't like it. I probably don't like the similar song the way he likes it. So we might enjoy it in the same room but in a different
in
mindset.
a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Alexa, I remember hearing this and my world was just like, whoa. And then I started thinking about it a bit more and I was like, it's actually more complex than that. I think what you were saying about music taste, Thomas, right? I had thought, again, the museum analogy that I was thinking. Something that I love about museums, besides them being like
Awesome.
institutions, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Besides the like political aspect of it, I love museums.
What's your favorite one, real quick?
Yeah.
Huh?
What's your favorite one?
You've ever
I
been to?
actually, that's so hard. I've been to some around like outside of the U.S. My favorite one to go to. I also like going to museums by myself. So one that I go to, I think like I try to go once every year. I haven't gone this year because COVID is MoMA, which is in the city. It's in New York. So I'll always like pick a day out of the year or something like that and go by myself and just see what's changed. I've been to Guggenheim. I love Guggenheim, but this is again in New York. When I lived in Madrid, I went to this museum. It's a museum de Reina Sofia, which was really dope. That's like my favorite in Madrid. Yeah, I feel like the top ones I have are probably in New York though. But MoMA's pretty dope. I think what I also love about museums is how they just change the space. Like different materials in the same space and like literally revamp everything.
I just love that like feeling when you're in a museum. It's like being in the airport, you know? You're like,
I think what astounds me about museums is that you're there, right? I think when I go alone, this is a very overwhelmingly beautiful feeling. Is like I'm there as my sole person. I know myself. I'm reacting or like taking in these things that I'm looking at, these paintings, these sculptures, the walls, whatever is on display. And I know nobody in the space. Like I know nobody. I don't know how this makes them feel. Like it just makes me like, whoa. I'm in awe. Because again, I could be looking at the same painting as we were talking about reacting, right? Like I could be looking at the same painting and this remind me of like a dear memory. And then this person could be looking at it and thinking that it's the shittiest painting ever. You know what I mean? Or it has no connection to them. And I think the way that this one piece of art can connect to so many people and people can have so many different reactions is really beautiful.
have you ever taken, I think it's called Ethics and Critical Thinking, that class? That's my favorite class I've ever taken.
No, I've never I did take an ethics course in undergrad, but the prof was like really weird, but I haven't taken that course.
No, I mean, I feel like the weirder the professor, the better. Was it like weird with work or weird in the way they presented the topics?
I think just like weird in how he interacted with the students. He really liked me. I don't know how to like, it was weird. Like we had a pretty tight connection, but it wasn't, I think like what we mostly read about was morals and ethics. But then after taking that class, I wanted to take more on ethics, and then I never did. But that's something that I want to take more of.
I've always found it weird you could major in ethics, because I'm like, that is literally like just a philosophy.
Yeah.
I would say no two people in the world are going to have the same ethical philosophy, right?
It's not standard, yeah.
Another reason we're different. What were we talking about before the museum thing? You were going to say something, and I was like...
Talking about friendships.
Yeah.
Bonds.
Yeah.
Anger.
Yeah.
I know you said in the book, it said that something about friendships over like family relationships or like romantic relationships.
Yeah.
You think that's true?
That we let them go quicker than those relationships?
Oh no, it was are they valued more? Or do you think they should be valued more?
I think they should be valued more.
Me too.
I really do. I think I was like, wow, what if this philosophy could, I don't know, just disseminate everywhere? Because I think my mom especially, like my mom is a very like, I don't want to sound basic, but like strong, independent woman. Like my mom has one best friend that she's had since high school. And through all the friends that I've had in my life, my mom is always like, well, friends come and go. And I hate that. I hate that term.
Oh my God.
It makes like me crawl under my skin because friends are so valuable to me. Like friends. Yeah.
once you're my friend, like you're my friend.
It's a pact.
Like,
it's a ride or die.
Oh,
yeah.
And I've always absolutely hated that. They're like, don't have a lot of friends. Have like 3 or 4 good ones. I'm like, all of them are good ones.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe this was written by someone who wasn't good at making friends.
Yeah. I think that perspective definitely matters. I think that friendships are so undervalued. Like I started thinking back to it and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that they were friends that I had, right? That I literally like cut them off sooner than I would have a partner or a family member.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to think about why that was and like what led to that. And then I've never taken on my mom's philosophy of friends come and go, because I think it hurts me. Like,
Yeah.
we were talking about this the other day, but friend breakups are so real. They are so real. And sometimes for me, like most times they've hit more than romantic breakups.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, ooh. And this is the thing, like people don't talk about it enough. Like, I don't think people talk about it at all. And how the hell do we navigate things like that? Because I think I think also how we think about romantic relationships, that's just a different framework. Like familial relationships are a different framework. I think family, we're taught to always like compromise. We're taught to always make up. We're taught that family is there no matter what. And I'm just like, and in the book, they also talk about what you mentioned earlier, like chosen family, like friends become that, you know what I'm saying? So when that bond is just so intertwined and then that thread becomes severed, where's the instruction manual for that?
It's terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
I have my best friend. We've been best friends for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have nightmares about the day that, like, what if something happens? I don't think we would ever get mad at each other enough to, but like, what if he dies? What if I die?
Dude, that's so wild. I've been thinking about that.
I'm like, oh my god, if this is like, this is the other half of my life. I know
Yeah.
we're not gay. We're not gay. We're not that gay.
Yeah.
But I think about it. I'm like, I'm not like, I said I'm spiritual. I'm loosely religious. And I believe in fate to a degree. I've always felt that regardless of what has ever happened in my life, if say I never moved to Florida, I still would have been fated to meet my best friend. And we still would have been best friends at some point in life. I feel like, they say...
Tell me that's not intimate.
What do you mean?
That's so intimate. That's such an intimate experience and feeling.
Because it's like, I think about it, I'm like, I don't think there's another person on this planet
Yeah.
who would get me like this.
Yeah.
I feel like we were made for each other.
Yeah.
Again, we're not gay. We're just really good friends.
I believe you.
You know?
And that's the thing. That's the thing with language, is that people think of intimacy as like one-sided. Like it only happens in romantic relationships. I talk about this with my friends all the time. Like I literally experience like high levels of intimacy with my close friends than I may have ever in a romantic relationship.
That is what I've found recently is so hard about me getting into a romantic relationship is I'm like, I will never like this person as much as I like hanging out with my friends ever.
Period.
And I'm like, that's the thing. Is like,
Thomas,
I've set an unrealistic standard, like unreachable standard. And so I'll meet a person.
What a dilemma! Like,
and I'll really like him, and I'm like, but at the end of the day, if this girl was like, hey, let's hang out, and my best friend was like, hey, let's hang out, I'd be like, well, let's hang out with my best friend. And
I love that.
And what sucks is like, very rarely, you can find a person who gets you. Not exactly to the same degree, but almost to the same degree as your best friend. And I'm like, oh my god, like, you're gonna break my heart. like oh, that's always been really hard for me. Because yes, I find attractive girls attractive.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, I want a relationship, like a long one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know there are very few people in this world very few women in this world that I would just be like, off of our first interaction, I'd be like, you are worth pursuing.
Yeah.
And it really just messes my mind up, because I'm like, now I've got all this pressure on myself that I'm like, there's like maybe 3 girls in the world like this, and 2 of them are already gone,
Billions and millions. What are your thoughts, Mark?
Just like friend. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would say ever since I was younger, I was pretty close to my family and close to my cousins, and so as I grew, and when we moved over here, I didn't really see many of them.
Yeah.
So I was kind of okay. I don't know. I think when I was younger, I was kind of fine with that. Like I was okay mentally on that. Like, well, it's just me, because I didn't really have any brothers or sisters growing up, so it was just the 3 of us, like me, my mom, and my dad. And then as you get older, then you start meeting other people, and you're like, whoa, these are like there's like other people around here, and then you're like, whoa, they could be like my friends, like that's a new thing.
Yeah.
And then over time, you know, I don't know, I guess when I was that young, I kind of took it pretty hard, you know, because as you get older, you know, you're just kids, you don't really know like what you're doing, you're just kind of following wherever your parents take you, and then you just kind of follow along how that goes. And so then as I got older, there wasn't really anybody that I connected to in a way really close to, because everybody just kind of went their separate ways. And I took that hard, especially when I was just like 9, 10, you know,
Yeah.
just because like there was nobody else that was like relatable, you know, that I would hang out with like out of school. And then over time, you know, I just figured, you know what, okay, maybe that's just it. Maybe it's not like friends come and go. Maybe it's just like, you just get older, so you're just gonna have to deal with just life issues, and then that's how it works. So like going into elementary school and then middle school was like, all right, I guess this is how it goes. And then in high school I was like, all right, this is how this is gonna go again for another 4 years. But then that's not what it was.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, well, this is a little strange. And that deals with like circumstances and like where you are, you know, because there's definitely a lot of people, especially in high school, which I feel for the most, who don't have like I don't have friends. And then I'm like, dang, that's such a weird feeling for me because I have friends.
Yeah.
And I have amazing, and I have a catalog of friends that, you know, I vibe with in different circumstances. And to see people who don't, it's such a scary feeling.
It breaks my heart.
So lonely.
Because that was what I had.
Yeah.
But now seeing it from an outside point is very strange.
It's like whenever you go to like a place you work or another school or something like that, there's always those people. Someone's like, hey, don't mess with that guy, or don't talk to that guy. He's a creep. He's weird. And I'm like, well, maybe he's weird or whatever because he doesn't have any friends. And, you know, having friends is incredibly important. And, you know, it's like they help you better yourself.
Yeah.
I think the worst kind of torture in this world would be not having any friends. And I'm like, if I could do anything to help that person, because I'm like, I know that is just like, I know for me at least, I would be an absolute mess.
Yeah, man.
If I didn't have my
It's
friends.
tough.
Yeah. I think we definitely, again, with understating and undervaluing human connection. Like, I really just remember, I feel like in high school too, I was just all over the place. Like, I felt like I would talk to people all the time, or just people that either I was closer to, and this is me in general. Like, I'm so my grandma, it's ridiculous. Mind you, she's almost 80 years old. But I'll be walking the streets pre-COVID, right? And I'll just go up to somebody and start talking to them, you know? Like, that's just how I am. Like, I want to, as soon as I walk out of my door, like, I want to connect with somebody that day. And I want, I don't know, someone to feel seen, or someone to be heard, or someone to just have that. Like, I think human connection is just so beautiful. And there's such a huge difference between being alone and experiencing loneliness. And I think loneliness is like such a spiral because, again, thinking about how many people there are on this earth and not having to be, or not being able to connect with somebody in the ways that we're talking about that are so unique and so cool and beautiful. And I think something too that I wanted to rewind back to, Thomas, is how you had mentioned like friendships versus romantic relationships, and how there's this fear of going into a romantic relationship because of heartbreak, right? So it's interesting because you think about the end before it even begins. But do we do that with friendships?
No,
I guess,
We don't,
I,
right?
No, you don't.
I guess with friendships, you
Like,
can already
why?
predict it with maybe with a like romantic sense, you can kind of predict that this might go the way it plans. But with friends, you don't really predict that you'll ever see the end.
No, it's like you can.
That's so. I'm like wondering.
You know,
With friends, yeah, you never.
you never predict like this is
I guess,
over.
I guess you never. You can never.
Done.
It's over.
You can never predict how good of a friends you'll be with somebody.
That's true too.
You can if you're if you two people if you're like talking with some dude
that is
Yeah.
true.
and you really like each other, you're really vibing. That's cool.
Yeah.
But at that point, you still have no idea how close of friends you're gonna be.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess at that point, it's hard to predict. You could be like, yeah, we're good friends, but if we never saw each other again, you know, I wouldn't be hurt.
Yeah.
But like, you know, unless it happens, and you're like,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Because
That
I'm
is
wondering if it has to do with, like, again, how we think about these relationships. Because I think I'm wondering if we are pre-exposed to the idea that romantic relationships are more vulnerable and there's more at risk, right? There's more to
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
But I feel that way with friendships too.
I don't
Again, when
know.
we're
It's
I'm
a
just like,
toughie.
not
It's a
right,
toughie.
I'm in a predicament right now. I'm trying
It's
to
a
figure it out.
toughie.
No,
I never thought about that before.
it's so tough.
Yeah.
I feel like I've realized I've made this revelation. Like, I had my first like serious girlfriend, and then I came to that conclusion. I was like, I know I don't enjoy being with this person as much as I enjoy being with my friends. And is it even really worth keeping if that's the case? And
Yeah.
just like, you know, you can see it. Like, I've dated other girls since then.
Yeah.
And early into the relationship, I'm just like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Like, I know that it's like there's gonna get to a point where I'm like, it's just not gonna, like, we're cool right now, we're having fun, it's great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there's gonna be a point where I'm sorry, I don't like you that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sucks, and it just prevents me from even wanting to try and be with another person because I'm like, I already know I'm not gonna like you as much as, but then,
Dang.
but
Yeah.
but I don't know that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just the idea where
It's
like,
true.
I think that's like the sacrifice you're like willing to make as far as like where that energy goes as far as the relationship and the friendships.
Yeah.
Because I think with us, it's like, I think the one thing I take for granted is knowing that if something like falls hard on me, whether it's like in a relationship or something, I could always fall back on my friends because they force me to, you know, be with them, you know, as
be
much in that
present.
feeling that you don't want to. They,
Yeah, dang.
you
I
know,
feel
and
that.
that's the type of friends you want. That's the type of brothers or sisters you want. That's what when you don't have it, you know, as far as like
Exactly.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess with me as far as like relationships, it's like, I guess like for example, like with the guys, like each one of them reminds me of myself in my own little way.
Dang.
So when I
that
meet,
hit me so hard.
you
right
know,
now.
they
Yeah.
all are like things I wish I was to a certain degree.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
like
so true.
And I think that's too, not to interrupt, sorry, Mark.
No, yeah.
But that's also what's beautiful about friendships is how they can be reflections of ourselves,
Yeah.
but also how to make ourselves better.
yeah,
I think
it's a
surrounding
challenge
yourself-
for me.
yeah.
It's like I just
Sigue.
want to be as good as you, but I know I won't. But I'm happy that you are in my life for that.
Exactly.
You know, like this is not as personal, but you know, like Thomas is very intelligent. I wish I was just as intelligent, or
Yeah.
like you know, our friend Josh. I wish I was just as like just go for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And I think that's the challenge, and I think that's the reason why we stick with those relationships because they're a challenge for us to be like, I want to be like you,
It's
and then vice
inspiring.
versa. They'll
Yeah.
never tell you, but I mean that's the
You know they
vulnerability.
feel it.
You know, there you go. You know it's there. It's the
Yeah,
vulnerability.
yeah.
It's the acceptance of being like, you know, like we consciously you all know,
Yeah.
and that's why you all stick together.
Exactly.
And that's why the fights and the bickers are always so hilarious to watch because it's like that's what friends are for.
Yeah.
And then I guess with relationships, it's like, you know, I guess that's a tough one because it's like you said, it's that separation that we just had when it comes to friends or relationships that we never talk about. And then it's that idea of being with that person. Because, you know, we've talked about this. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, for me, I guess I can understand Thomas's or like, you know, troubles because it's, you know, you always want to look at somebody that you're going to be with and being like, is this going to be the person?
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to like go like expecting it to be like, all right, well, this is this now and then move on to the next one because it might not work out. But no, that's the present moment. That's what it should be for you. And if it's good and if it goes well, then live it. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't, it's okay because it's tough. Life is tough.
I'm like breaking
bro.
a sweat thinking about it.
Yeah, man,
'cause you're
relationships are
saying
tough,
that
man. They're not
and
easy.
You're
It's
saying
hard
so.
for everyone.
There's two things I have, right? So I think what's interesting about the book that I mentioned, it's called Big Friendship: How to Keep Each Other Close, and then I also think about very often is like how do we let each other go.
Yeah, man.
That maybe I'll write a book.
Yeah,
I don't
the
even-
soft
we let each
spot.
other go.
I don't want to think about that. one. I don't
No. It's just a thought, just
It's
food for
tough,
thought, putting
man.
out there. And I think going off of Mark,
No,
like,
God,
It's
that's
tough.
like
It's tough.
because letting go like consciously.
yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
no, I
my heart is like racing right now.
I think that's a muscle. I'm pretty chill, but I think yeah, no,
I think
that's,
I'm like,
that's
this is not caffeinated.
I think for me, it's the muscle you have to build for that. I think for me, it's the muscle I've had to build of like being okay with that. You know,
Yeah.
it's fine. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And when you have people around you that distract you for the moments that they're great. You know,
Yeah.
and they don't last, and you know they're hard to get through.
Yeah.
But Jesus, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
You know what I
think
mean?
to go off what you just mentioned too, sorry, before that one, is like going into a romantic relationship and then thinking, for the short term. Like, I think time is also just something that boggles my mind with relationships, is like, how do you know when... I like struggle with living in the present and also living in the past and the future. Like, I'm literally on every like temporal dimension. So I'm like, how do you again be present with what it is for what it is at that moment, right? Rather than either wanting something to be more, wanting something to be less. Like, how do we accept things for how they come to us, for the quantity or the quality that they are?
We started this conversation talking about SpongeBob.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So when you say letting go, you mean like letting go in a case of like inevitable demise, or like letting go in the case of like we don't talk very much anymore, and you know, I don't think we're really friends anymore.
Say the first one again.
I would say, you know, letting go in case someone dies. You know, I feel like that'd be really tough, but it'd be easy.
Rough.
It would be easier to do that than it would be to consciously understand, like, this person I was really good friends with at one point. We're not friends anymore.
You know, I think about that a lot, actually, because you spoke about like your best friend passing away and what that would look like. And I think during COVID, I've had this huge tunnel of existential thought, as I usually do, about how like no day is guaranteed at this point. You know, I feel like maybe it doesn't sound that dramatic, but I think every day is something that we can expect, whatever that may look like. And what I feel regretful for the relationships I've let go, or the people that I've let go, or the people, whatever that looks like, if I lost them in that way. And so I had been thinking about that a lot. And I think in terms of letting go, it would be easier if they were like, I don't want to say that, like a life was ended. They were demolished. Rather than knowing that person is roaming the earth and you don't know how they're doing.
Yes,
I think about that all the time.
That is what
I think about that all the time.
That is what would be so much harder, is if they're dead, they're dead. They're not in the world anymore.
Yeah, I think that grieving looks different.
But if you have to let go of someone because you're just not friends anymore, it's like, you know, they're out there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, damn, what if I run into that person?
Yeah.
Or like, what if they have died and I don't know anything?
Yeah, tell me how I think about that with, like, I told Mark this the other day, literally, like, people I knew in middle school. Like, people that probably don't even think about me anymore, but, like, things that were significant,
Yeah. No, I think about that, too. I'm like, they say...
Like, just connections that were significant.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. I mean, what's that, they say there's, like, 5 senses, but there's actually more than that, and one of those senses is the ability to understand that each individual person has their own lives.
So something that my grandma tells me a lot is to always go out into the world with love, and to enter, I don't know, connections that you have on the basis of love. And so I think that that's something that I'd advise anyone, if you know how to just come from a place of loving tenderness, perspective, and be able to constantly build human connection. I think it's one of the greatest gifts that you could ever have. My name is Alexa Madrid, and this is The Power of Four. And now presenting Drea.
Give me some of that moonlight, baby. Let me sip from the light that's inside of you. I'ma practice, you're my religion. You can read my mind, just listen. And that's a fire in your eyes, hey. It's got me mesmerized, got me mesmerized. You got magic in your soul. I'ma love you like a ritual, hey. Ritual. I'ma love you like a, hey. intention. Let me try some of your medicine. I'll follow blindly, I won't dare ask any question.